What up? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview. And in the anticipation of Selena the series, which premieres December 4th on Netflix, I'm here talking with one of the stars of this new show, Carlos Alfredo Jr. How are you, Carlos?
Hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you as well. So, I've watched this entire show, loved it. I thought it was a very fitting tribute to the late, great Selena. So, tell me, Carlos, what is your earliest recollection or earliest memory of Selena y los Dinos and specifically Selena Quintanilla?
Yeah, so my earliest recollection, I grew up in a Mexican restaurant. So the first time I heard her music was through my jukebox at my restaurant. So that's where I got a lot about that's where I got my musical knowledge from. And of course, Beady Beady Bum Bum was a song that really like struck me as a kid. And I grew up with two sisters, so of course the movie came out and we adored that movie and it was like a bittersweet thing and that's when I really got Selena's story. I think, you know, Latino culture, I think we all got the Selena story from that movie. And for me, as I became a guitar player as a result. When I was 10 years old, my mom forced me to play guitar at church. Uh, and as I grew up, as I became a teenager, I rebelled and I wanted to become I wanted to find my own music. So I found heavy metal. So I was into bands like Metallica, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, all that good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was my childhood. That was my adolescence. And when I graduated high school, that's when I wanted to go back to my Latin roots, and I joined this band where we played cumbias and rancheras and all kinds of Mexican music. And that's where I learned Selena songs on the guitar, and I got to you know inject some of my heavy metal influences in the music. And I felt like Chris Perez in the band.
Cool.
Um, so fast forward, here I am, man. It was completely full circle that I got to be an actor and a musician at the same time in a show that meant the world to me.
That's so awesome. I read your profile. You were busting your butt off, man, working all kinds of day jobs while auditioning and making mud and chops, and you were street performing at the same time. Kudos to you. You
Thanks.
earned your stripes as an actor, as a musician. You went through it the hard way. So as an artist, so when the opportunity to play the role of Selena's keyboardist, Joe Ojeda, comes around or comes to your lap, what was your reaction to that news?
Yeah, so I heard about the project December 2018, and I had a manager. I had just gotten a manager at the time, and I begged her. I'm like, if you love me, you're gonna get me in that door, because I want to be a part of this so bad. Because Selena means the world to me. And she tried and she tried and she couldn't get me in. She couldn't get me in, and I got very desperate. So I sent an email to the casting director, which is a no-no in the business, and I sent her a bunch of videos of me performing and playing Selena songs, and she responded right away and she said, "Have your manager email me." And of course she did. And shortly after, I got my first audition. So it wasn't such a bad thing that I did. I guess it paid off in the end. So I had my audition, and they wanted to see me for two roles. They wanted to see me for Joe, which is the person that I got, the character that I got, and for Pete Astudillo, which is the second singer in the band. So I went in there. Before that I had gotten uh, private coaching, and I worked the hardest I've ever worked in my life for a character. And I went in there and I left floating because I just did the best audition that I could have done. And this is a funny story actually. My sister was getting married in September, so this audition was in July.
Hmm.
I hadn't heard back, and some time went by, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. But I was still like positive. I was still optimistic. And it's my sister's wedding, and I drive to her wedding, and on my guitar, I decided that I was gonna perform at my sister's wedding and give her a little surprise. So I plastered a bunch of pictures of her and her husband all over my guitar. And I go back home, which is in the Bay Area from LA, which is a 6-hour drive. And I get there, and I'm supposed to do all the wedding festivities, the tuxedo fitting, the rehearsals, all that good stuff. The next day, my manager is like, Carlos, I'm so sorry, sweetie. You have to come right back. They want to see you. The producers of the show want to see you.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do I do? So I tell my sister, and she's pissed off at me, but I still got to go to the wedding, which is, I'm a good brother. So I drive right back. The next day, I had my audition with the producer of Selena, which is Rico. And this time they want to see me perform. So
Hmm.
they told me to prepare 30 seconds of a song. So there I am with my guitar filled with pictures of my sister and her husband. And I show up at the audition and I have my little looper pedal and I'm playing this like crazy Carlos Santana like song. And I'm just like riffing. And he lets me go on for 15 minutes. Even though the email says go like play a 30-second song, he just lets me go on for 30 or not 30 minutes, 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And after that, he says, "Okay, do you know anything else?" And then I played a Selena song. Another 15 minutes goes by, and I'm performing for him. And then I do my audition for Joe again. They wanted to see me. They saw me for Pete again, and then they had me sing. They asked me if I can sing, and I said yes. So they had me sing a song. Then they asked me if I can sing and play guitar at the same time. I said yes, so I did that. And I was in the room for about an hour and a half, man. That's so unheard of. And I left there floating, and I got in my truck, drove right back to my sister's wedding, another 6 hours, did the whole thing, came back. Some weeks went by, and they wanted to see me again, but this time for Chris Bettis, which is the role that I originally wanted. So I felt honored because they had seen me play guitar and they wanted to see what I can do with the role. So I went back in there, prepared, did my whole thing. Again, I left there floating. A week goes by, and at the time, I'm washing dishes at a Japanese restaurant. And I'm in the back scrubbing dishes, and during my break, I see that there's 25 missed calls from my manager. And I said, "Oh my God, this is good news or this is really bad news?" you know? So I call her back, and the first thing she says is, "Hey, Joe, how are you doing?" And that's when I knew I got the role for Joe.
Yeah.
And my life had been completely changed from that point forward.
Wow.
And it's so surreal. Yeah.
Congratulations, man, and thank you for sharing that story. It does bring me to question though, because
Mhm.
I know you have great musical talents, musical skills. You can master instruments like guitar and whatnot. So, but what is your process, or what was your process into embodying Joe, mannerism wise, accent wise, appearance wise? How do you capture the essence of him on the screen?
Yeah. So I was very fortunate in that Joe, the real Joe, actually helped me through the entire process of the
Hmm.
filming. I reached out to Joe the day I got cast, and I sent him a message on Instagram, and I just thanked him, and I told him that I was going to do the best job possible for him and for his legacy, all that. And I didn't think he would respond, but he did, and he was nice enough to be my friend and to just I would send him pictures of my outfits on set, and he would say I would totally wear that or I would not wear that. And then I would go to wardrobe, and then I would tell wardrobe what Joe told me, and they were so excited because I was actually talking to one of the Dinos, and he would say I wouldn't wear those pants. I would wear Z Cabarucci's. Next thing you know, I'm wearing Z Cabarucci's on set the next day. Or like he would tell me I would wear earrings in 1994. So there I am asking the director, can I wear earrings since it's 1994? And she
Hmm.
would say yes. So I felt very proud that I was able to keep that truth for Joe.
No.
And in terms of piano, I took about 3 months of piano lessons before I even went on set.
Hmm.
Um, for me, I think the most important thing to find Joe's essence was to find the same passion that I have for the guitar on the piano because he loves his instrument and you can tell in his performances he just loves performing. So once I found that, I knew that was the key to getting Joe down.
There's a difference between me watching Christian Serrato's Selena, me at home on my couch watching the episodes on my laptop, and you watching, Christian Serrato's as Selena on the set in person directly. So tell me, what do you think of Christian's performance as Selena? Do you think she does her justice?
Yeah, so I'm also a big Selena fan. So for me, I have my own opinions as well, just like everyone else. So I think the day that really hit me that she was completely 100% Selena, I remember I was on stage and we were doing Como la Flor, and there's like 100 extras in the crowd, and they all have their lighters, from that time. And I hit the first chord of Como la Flor. There's it's pitch black, and there's like this light, this beam of light shining on the stage, and she comes out, in her white bustier, and I'm watching her, and I get super emotional and I start crying. And then she does her whole Selena thing, and it's like spot on. It's like I'm not even kidding. It's like this is incredible. As a fan, like that's when I knew like this is the girl for the job. And she did amazing.
Yes.
As a fellow actor, I got to because this is my first big project. She's been doing this since she was a kid. So just watching the way she carries herself, or the way she talks to directors, the way she is. I mean, it was a big gift for me as an actor to be able to, yeah, to see that.
It's been what, 25 years now
Yeah,
since Selena's passing, um, and her legacy lives on. Like, I want to ask you as a fan, why do you think she resonates even after all these years?
I think what it is, it's you can't beat real. When someone is genuine and real and really cares, you can feel that. Like she was at the top of her peak when she passed away, but she still had time for an interview. She still would joke around with someone and make eye contact and make them feel like they're important. And she's not doing it at it like for to get somewhere. She's doing it because that's who she is. And the fact that we're still talking about her, it's amazing, and it's rightfully so. She deserves everything. I mean, she's someone that died super young. She died in such a horrible way, but we still talk to her like she's alive. I mean, you watch interviews, you watch performances, and it's like they just happened last week, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna go on like that forever, honestly.
This is not a limited series. By the time I got to the ninth episode, oh, it feels like they're setting it up for a second part or something. It seems like the story continues. Uh, is that correct? And will we see more of you as Joe in this second part, if that's the case?
Yeah, it's a two-part series.
Ah,
Originally going to be 3 seasons, but they decided to make it into two. So it's 9 episodes per season. I'm not too sure when season two will come out, but yeah, it'll be sometime next year for sure.
all right. And lastly, having gone through all those experiences to get to this point in your career, like what wisdom or advice can you impart to aspiring actors out there who also want to break into the business?
Hmm. Yeah, I would say it's a very, very tough business. It's a very weird profession. You have to love it. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? I think with any profession, you have to ask yourself why you're doing this. But in
Mhm.
particular, we're talking about acting. It can't be a hobby. That's the thing. You can't just have one foot in, one foot out. You have to be all in. For example, me, like you said, I was doing all kinds of odd jobs. I came here. A lot of people told me it was impossible. I had to listen to naysayers. I had to work as a landscaper. I had to work as a dishwasher. I was a guitar teacher at one point. I did all kinds of things just to survive. And you had to keep your mornings open so you can audition. And you have to have a job flexible enough to let you go on auditions. And once you book a job to do that project, so it's crazy. It's a lifestyle, and if you hang in there, you will break in one day. So hang in there if you're actually thinking about doing it. Hang in there. It's so worth it.
For my fans at home, everybody go check out Selena the series, December 4th on Netflix. Carlos, thank you so much for talking to me, and
Hey,
congratulations, sir.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.